Hello and welcome to the 44th episode of Something Newsy. I'm Jacob,
I'm Simran.
and today we're going to talk about the immigrant experience in America.
Yes. So I come from India. I came to US in 2019 because my sister was living here. She actually used to live in Canada and then she moved to US. She's 8 years elder to me, and my parents always wanted me to not stay in India for long because there are not much opportunities in India because of the population. It's like highly populated, and then the salaries are not a lot, to be honest. So I came to US basically to do my undergraduate in journalism.
Well, I'm an imposter in this room because I'm not actually an immigrant, but I'm the second closest thing we could find
Yeah.
in this class, in this wonderful paper of ours. My parents came here from what used to be the Soviet Union. My dad in 1989, my mom right before the second revolution in Russia in 1993. They came here, they met in 97. A few years later, I happened.
Wow. So my grandparents and my parents still live in India, but they do come here to visit us. And also, just to add, I have a green card. So I am not here for like a PR or anything. So I feel very blessed because I have a status here. I don't really have to struggle to survive, honestly. But I would still say that I still struggled a lot if I compare it to India, because like in India, when you are a teenager, you usually stay with your family, and like you don't get the feeling of being independent and working for yourself and earning for yourself, because in India usually one person earns and runs the whole family, which is kind of difficult because then it's like six people are living in one family and only father is earning. That's how it works. So when I came here, it was a very new experience for me. I was honestly very nervous, excited, and like I used to really struggle because I'm not like, I did my first job in a cafe, and it was a very new experience for me. I got paid, and it was like a roller coaster for me, the whole experience.
Well, okay, first of all, congratulations on the green card.
Thank you.
I didn't know that because I know how difficult the process can be, and that's something you can speak to a lot more than me. But I've watched it. Since my parents are immigrants, but I was born here, I'm smack dab in the middle of the assimilation process. My parents don't really speak English as their first language. I do, even though it's not the first language I learned. And then my kids, somewhere down the line, presumably, are going to be basically fully American. So I've seen people have to immigrate. I've seen people have to get green cards and citizenships and residencies and work visas, and it's a mess. People who say that people need to come into this country the right way underestimate how narrow that way is.
Right. And also, one thing I want to add is that living in India and living in US, both of the countries are totally different from each other, I would say. Because in India, I would say you have more comfort than in America. Because in America, everything you have to do on your own, But it's so much comfort, it's so much like pampering in India, if that's the right word, because you're always surrounded with people and family members, and you never feel alone and depressed, or you always, some way or the other, you will always be surrounded by people around you. But here it's still lonely.
Well,
it gets lonely.
We have the wonderful rugged individualism in America. No, but I know what you mean. Like, we have this idea of the nuclear family in the United States, which is pretty foreign anywhere outside of North America. In Ukraine and Russia, where my family is from, in Mexico, where a bunch of my other family lives, or used to live, you have children and their parents and the grandparents, and maybe in some cases great-grandparents, not mine, they're all dead, but if they were around, all living in the same house. So like me, I am the oldest of two children, only two, which is an American thing pretty much. My parents are obviously in the same house, and so is my grandmother, my dad's mom. We all live in the same house, which is totally foreign to a lot of Americans.
It is, but for India it's not, because that's how it works. Basically, you live with your grandparents and your mother, your father, your sister, your brother, everybody. So it's like a joint family. It's a thing in India. And that is why it was difficult for me, because I was like, I got detached from everybody, and then I started living alone, even though I was living with my sister, but still, because she is settled in her life and then she's about to get married, and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna live alone, and then eventually I'll start living alone once she gets married. Right. So that's gonna be really difficult, to be honest.
What's interesting is that you're talking about how the experience of living with a family in a community, it keeps you from feeling lonely, which is true. I can speak to that too.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like when you're a college student, specifically me, and you've been living with your family your whole life, the sort of expectation and almost desire for most people, I think, in college is to move away from their family and find that independence, as difficult as that often is when you grew up in a tight-knit family.
That's true. That's the main reason why my parents wanted me and my sister to live abroad, because first of all, in US there are so many opportunities. In India, you barely get any opportunity, and even if you do, the salaries are not that great because it's overly populated. First of all, so many, it's literally the second most populated country in the world. It's overly populated, and then that's the main reason that people don't get opportunities. And there are so many poor beggar people, just staying on streets. They don't have homes, and it's really sad to see, because Indian people are really intelligent, let me tell you that. Especially from South India, it's known for it, because South Indian people are mostly into like IT department, finance, doctor, lawyers, and
they're the stereotype.
That's true. I come from Delhi, the capital of India. So Delhi, it's like you get mixed people, you like all the cultures and everything. But in India, every state has a different language, a different culture, tradition, rituals. It's so different. So even if I interact with a South Indian, I'll feel like I'm talking to somebody from a different country, because it's so different.
It was.
Yes, it's like
1948. Something like that, when India formed?
So, India and Pakistan used to be one, and then it divided. But I'm just talking about India itself. So, in India, every state, different language is spoken.
I mean, if you look up, I've done this, because it's really funny. If you look up a language map of India, it's like a toddler.
It is.
Splattered paint over a canvas for like an hour.
True. And food is different, clothes are different, the way of living lifestyle is totally different. And that's really, it makes India beautiful, honestly. Because then you get to see so many different cultures, so many different languages, and then you meet so many different people. It's really interesting. So much to explore if you come to India.
That sounds like a travel ad.
That's right. It's kind of weird, because even when I see India and Pakistan, it's like there are so many rivalries against each other and everything. And it used to be a same country early back then. And then the same thing, because whenever I see the news, or I'm in US and I'm seeing the news, or my parents tell me something, it's sad, because like people, like it's so much hate between each other, so much like differences. And let's just not talk about different countries. Even in one single country, north, south, east, west, there are so many cultural barriers, especially in India.
Okay, I want to take a moment before we finish here to talk about the language barrier.
Oh my god, yes. I was about to say.
I'm going to let you field this one. I have my own interesting things to say, but you definitely have more, so I'll let you start off.
Thank you. So in India, in school, all the subjects are in English, right? But then we don't speak English, but we know how to write. So I don't get the fluency. Like, I know what to say, but then again, when I form a sentence, the accent is very different. American accent and Indian accent is very different. So when I came to US, this is the main thing that I'm still struggling with, is that to understand what the other person is saying, not because I don't know English, but because of the accent. But now I'm getting better at it, because it has been more than 4 years now I'm here, because I came here in 2019. But that is something that I feel all Indians, when they come to US or any other country, be it Canada or Australia or any other country, everybody has one common struggle, and that is language. So, I don't know, I think it just gets better with time.
It does. But so, English is I call it my primary language, but not my first language. I didn't learn to speak English until I was 4 or 5. Because my parents, my dad is from Ukraine, but he's from the Russian-speaking part of it. My mom is from Russia, so go figure. So you are born into a house with 2 Russian speakers.
Yeah.
All 4 of your grandparents are Russian speakers. Both of your uncles are Russian speakers, even if one of them is in denial about it. All of your parents' friends are Russian speakers. All of their parents' kids, or all of their
like relatives
friends'
and everybody,
kids
yeah.
speak Russian. So you speak Russian. That's just how it goes. And I have these, obviously, I mean, I think it should be obvious by the way I'm talking. I don't have any problems with English, but I have these, what I call bilingual moments.
Yeah.
From time to time. This one story I'll never forget. When I was like 6, my dad was picking me up from 1st or 2nd grade, I don't remember. And I told the other kids there that my dad was going to pick me up and take me to the magazine.
Wow.
Because magazine is the Russian word magazine is the Russian word for store.
Oh.
And I didn't know the word store, I knew the word, and I didn't know the English word magazine.
Yeah.
Like the one that we produce.
Yeah. That's quite interesting.
And I still, to this day, like, I was doing some project for a different class, and we were looking at a UN organization, the OCHA. I don't remember what it stands for. The English letter C is the Russian letter S, and the English letter H is the Russian letter N. So instead of reading that as OCHA, I see it in all capitals, and I'm like, why does that say asna?
Yeah.
Which means foundation, or base, like a foundation of a building.
Yeah.
In Russian. And I still have, like, that was 2 weeks ago, you know, so this still happens.
That's recent.
It's constantly, I miss words sometimes. Like, one thing you'll notice with Russian and Ukrainian speakers is they'll miss, like, prepositions. So instead of saying, I'm going to the store, for instance, you just say, I'm going to store.
To store.
Because you forget to do the preposition, because it's not how Russian language works. And I have that sometimes. And it's purely just coronavirus. I spent 2 years indoors with people who speak mostly Russian. And I lost some of my English ability. I could feel it happening over the pandemic. I lost some of my English ability.
Because obviously you don't speak it at your home, so...
Half, but more leaning towards the other half. So I don't think it can ever be fixed now. Those were my formative years.
And also it's like how your upbringing is done, right? Like if I was born speaking my, like, Hindi, which is like the language like Indians speak. So no matter how much I try, I can never get that American accent, you know. Even if I try my best to speak like in American accent, when I hear British accent, I still don't understand a single word. It's so difficult to catch British accent. So, you know what I'm trying to say? So
I'm American. I don't understand British accents either. They're strange backwards.
When I watch any show in British language, I always have to, like, put the subtitles on because I don't understand a single word. And I'm like, is that English? It's so different.
It really depends. Like, Cockney or Scottish accent is just incomprehensible. Sorry to any Cockney accented listeners of this program. If any exist, I apologize, but we really can't understand when you speak.
But
I'm so sorry.
It's so beautiful that every country speaks English differently, you know. It's English. It's like one common language, but it's spoken differently, right? In India, it's different. In America, it's different.
We all have our own dialects.
Yeah.
Even people who came here when they were like 8, I know a person who came here when she was 8, and we were writing something together a few weeks ago, and she said something, I remember, she was telling a joke of some kind, and she said the word gnome, like the mythological creature, and she says gnome, because that's how you would say it in Russian, gnome.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's not gnome, it's gnome, because we decided that the G is silent for some reason.
Yeah. So 2 of my cousins who were born in Canada, they're Indian, but since they were born in Canada, when they speak English, it sounds like the Canadian English, you know, because they were born there, even though they're Indian. So even like my cousin's parents don't speak English that well, but then because they were born there, so they have that accent because of the school and because of friends and everybody. So, and when I speak to my cousins, they don't understand my language and they don't even know Indian language really well because obviously they do visit India, but they are not born there. So they don't know. It's difficult to even communicate with them. Yeah.
Well, on that note, I believe we've reached a satisfactory conclusion point.
Yes.
So I'm going to sign off. I'm Jacob.
I'm Simran.
And thank you for watching. Or listening. Close enough.